I warned you people already. This time I'm calling the real police. That's what shattered my quiet Saturday morning. A voice like broken glass, cutting through birdsong and the click of my front door as I stepped out in my slippers. And there she was, Margaret Williams, our HOA president, standing in my driveway like a traffic cop on the warpath, her phone held up like some kind of holy relic. Same purple floral blouse, wrinkled now, hair a little wild, eyes burning with righteous fury. If I didn't know better, I'd swear she'd been crouched out there in the hedges just waiting for this exact moment. And there, a few feet away, stood my wife Sarah, looking about as exhausted as a person can get, still in her police uniform, gym bag slung over her shoulder, her posture slumped but her eyes defiant. You can't park that police vehicle here. Not in my neighborhood. I'll have you arrested. Margaret shrieked, jabbing her phone at Sarah like a dagger. Sarah just stared, her voice the calm, professional kind she uses on drunks and angry drivers at 3 a.m. Mrs. Williams, I just need 5 minutes to grab my things and change out of uniform. But Margaret wouldn't budge. No 5 minutes, no more excuses. You've humiliated this community long enough. Rules are rules, and today this ends. Neighbors started appearing, curtains twitched, doors creaked open, coffee mugs in hand. Some frowned, some snickered, some just watched. You know the type, people who don't want to get involved, but sure don't mind the show. I looked at Sarah. She looked so tired, but in her eyes, something flared up, something that said, not today, not anymore. I tried to step in, voice low but sharp, but Margaret spun on me, eyes narrowed. Don't you dare lecture me, Mr. Miller. I'm the president of the HOA. If your wife thinks she's above the law, maybe it's time she learned the hard way. The absurdity of it. The woman who'd spent her life enforcing the law being threatened with arrest in her own damn driveway. I could feel the months of pent-up frustration balling up inside me. Fines, threats, gossip, the constant harassment. But this was the breaking point. Margaret thought she was about to crush us, but she had no idea who she was really messing with. Let me back up a sec. When people ask why we moved to Pine Valley, I say the same thing. We wanted peace. We thought we'd found it. A quiet house on a golden cul-de-sac, maple trees turning red in fall, kids on bikes till dusk, white picket fences, barbecue smoke drifting on weekends. I'm David Miller, 36, a finance guy for the city. Sarah's 33, sharper than me, steady as they come, but people in the neighborhood never knew what she really did. Everyone just assumed she was some office worker. We never corrected them. She's a cop, a good one, with more patience and backbone than anyone I know. And then there was Margaret, recently divorced, self-elected HOA queen, patrolling the street with her clipboard like it was a badge of honor, rules her Bible, suspicion her gospel. Sarah once whispered to me, that woman doesn't want a neighborhood, she wants a kingdom. And Margaret ruled with an iron fist. Every unmowed lawn was a crime, every trash bin out too long a scandal. She spotted Sarah's patrol car once, and boom, that was her new obsession. She started with warnings, banging on my door one morning, brandishing her clipboard. Why is there a police vehicle in your driveway? Violation, Section 4.3. Commercial vehicles strictly prohibited. I tried to explain. Temporary, just a few minutes. But she cut me off. No exceptions. None. Rules are rules. $50 fine. Right there, red letters like a scarlet letter. That was just the beginning. It should have ended there, right? One fine, a grumble at the next meeting, done. But Margaret? She doesn't let things go. The second time, same deal. Sarah home after a night shift, me making coffee, pounding on the door, Margaret's lips pinched so tight, I thought her face would snap in half. Second occurrence. Section 4.3. No excuses. I tried reasoning, but she was having none of it. If your wife wants special privileges because she wears a badge, maybe you should move somewhere else. That line stung. I wanted to yell, but Sarah just shook her head. Let it go, David. But I couldn't. Not this time. And Margaret wasn't done. She started surveilling us, hiding behind bushes, snapping photos, writing down times on her clipboard. My inbox filled up. Urgent violation. Commercial vehicle present at 7:42 a.m. Removed at 8:05. 23 minutes, 6 photos, all angles. By week 2, she had a stopwatch around her neck, crouched behind mailboxes, timing Sarah like she was running a marathon. You couldn't make this up. I went to the HOA meeting, hoping to reason with the board. But Margaret had prepared a PowerPoint, seriously, a full slideshow, of Sarah's car, timestamps, charts, the whole 9 yards. She called out shocking numbers: 17 minutes Tuesday, 26 Saturday, like we were criminals. I tried to explain, my wife is law enforcement. These are temporary stops. But Margaret cut me off. The law doesn't play favorites, Mr. Miller. Neighbors snickered. My face burned. But as I sat down, I saw something shift. Margaret thought she had us cornered, but she was laying the rope that'd hang her. Soon, it wasn't just about fines. It was poison, whispered in driveways and at the mailbox. Neighbors who used to chat now barely made eye contact. I caught Margaret gossiping. She gets out of tickets, you know, probably getting kickbacks. Accusations piled up, wild and ugly. Sarah came home one day, pale, shaking. Her captain had called her in. Margaret filed an official complaint. Accused her of misusing government property, being corrupt. Luckily, her captain laughed it off, but Sarah had to sit there, humiliated, explaining her neighbor was literally timing her bathroom breaks. Margaret put up a camera, too. A black little eye pointed right at our house. Community safety, she said. If certain residents can't follow the rules, we need documentation. It caught our front window, porch, everything. Sometimes she'd wave at the camera as we passed, like she was Queen Margaret of Pine Valley. Other times, she'd follow Sarah in her car, tailing her down the street. I watched out the window, hands shaking. It was stalking, plain and simple. Sarah snapped. This is harassment, David. Stalking. It needs to stop. And I saw it in her eyes, that spark. Margaret had pushed her too far. The showdown was inevitable. Saturday morning, our driveway became a stage. Margaret stormed across the street, yelling, "This time I'm calling the real police." Neighbors streamed out, watching, whispering. Margaret, wild-eyed, tried to arrest Sarah for misuse of government property. Actually tried to place my wife, a cop, under citizen's arrest. Sarah stood there, calm, and let her finish, then said quietly, "Do you have any idea what you've just done?" For the first time, Margaret faltered. The crowd saw it too. Sarah's badge caught the sun, real and gold, while Margaret shrieked, phone shaking. Sarah just let her dig her grave. After that, the gloves came off. "No more playing defense," Sarah said. "We go on the offensive. Operation Purple Blouse," she called it. She dug into HOA records, meeting minutes, bylaws. She changed the rules without a vote, David. That's illegal. Turns out, Margaret had faked the new covenants, issued fines under bogus rules. Sarah found evidence of past complaints in other neighborhoods, 2 lawsuits, one settled out of court. I started talking to neighbors, Mrs. Rodriguez, the Morrisons, the Pattersons. Everybody had a story, a petty fine, a threat, a campaign of intimidation. We collected it all. Then Sarah hit pay dirt, bank statements. Every fine, every fee, funneled not into HOA accounts, but into Margaret's personal bank. 15 grand in 8 months. Not reported to the IRS either. So, tax fraud. She traced kickbacks too. Margaret gave contracts to 2 companies, who in turn cut her checks under the table. This was more than HOA bullying. It was organized theft. We put together a binder, bylaws, testimonies, bank records, kickbacks. And Sarah, in full investigator mode, built a case airtight enough for court. "We drop it all at the next HOA meeting," she said, smiling like a wolf. The meeting was packed, neighbors buzzing, no one trusting Margaret anymore. She strutted in, ready to humiliate us, folder in hand. But this time I was ready. I stood up, briefcase in hand, and asked how many residents actually read the new bylaws or remembered voting on them. Silence. Because no one had voted, Margaret made it up. She tried to talk over me, but Sarah rose, badge shining under the fluorescent light, and introduced herself as Sheriff Sarah Miller, Orange County. You could have heard a pin drop. Sarah laid out the evidence: bylaw violations, personal bank deposits, tax fraud, kickbacks. Neighbors passed around spreadsheets, their eyes growing wide. Mrs. Rodriguez realized her $300 fine had gone straight into Margaret's pocket. Outrage exploded. Mr. Patterson, the neighborhood's quiet elder, stood up. "This isn't leadership. This is theft." People shouted, demanded answers. Margaret tried to regain control, screaming that we were liars, but no one listened. Her power crumbled before her eyes. Sarah closed it with the finishing blow. "As sheriff, I'm suspending you from HOA duties effective immediately. Margaret was done. The crowd cheered, neighbors hugged. People who'd never spoken before shared stories. Margaret stammered, "You're just a neighbor." Sarah held up her badge. "No, Mrs. Williams. I am the law. And intimidation of law enforcement is a crime you should have thought twice about." Margaret slunk out, her reins shattered, her folder of evidence spilling across the floor. Timing sheets, photos, all of it now meaningless. The prosecutor filed charges: fraud, tax evasion, abuse of fiduciary duty. Margaret took a plea: probation, restitution, and a lifetime ban from HOA boards. Pine Valley. We rebuilt. The new HOA was transparent. 5 people, every vote public, audits for every dollar. People talked, trusted, laughed again. Saturday barbecues replaced angry meetings. Mrs. Rodriguez became secretary. The Morrisons started a neighborhood potluck tradition. Even the Pattersons' 2 tall roses became a badge of pride. Sarah launched a program, teaching neighbors their rights, warning them how to spot a Margaret before it was too late. Our fight sparked local news stories and new state laws for HOA transparency. Our little war changed more than just Pine Valley. It started a movement. Now, sometimes, on cool evenings, I sit on our porch, watching Sarah sip her coffee, neighbors chatting on the sidewalk, kids riding bikes where surveillance cameras once glared. Peace, real peace, not just the quiet kind, but the kind you fight for. And I know, my wife is more than just a badge or a uniform. She's the reason justice is more than a word around here. Pine Valley learned the hard way, but it'll never forget. But hey, tell me, was Margaret really just a villain, or did she believe she was saving the neighborhood? Do you think every HOA needs a little law, or is power the real danger? Drop your thoughts below. Justice isn't just for courtrooms, you know what I mean? Sometimes, it starts right at your own front door.